So clearly I don't know what month it is, considering my look today. I must be living my Halloween fantasy in June, but you know what? It is what it is, and we're just gonna ignore it. So if you want to come for me, you can leave, and that's it on that. Remember how I said in my April wrap-up that I was gonna read a ton in May? Well, I'm Boo Boo the Fool, and I lied to you guys. That's just the cold hard truth, and that's just something we all have to live with. So I read 13 books. A lot of them were not actual books. A lot of them were graphic novels, so it's a little deceiving, but we're just gonna get into all of the books I read and the ratings. I read 1 2-star, 1 2.5, 4 3-star, 1 3.5, 3 4 stars, 1 4.5, and then 2 5 stars. So pretty much everything across the board. We have a little bit of everything, but yeah, let's just get into all of the books I read. So the first book I read this month was The Smoke Thieves by Sally Green, and I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I hadn't heard anything about The Smoke Thieves or what it was about, so I had very low expectations, if any expectations, going into this. But The Smoke Thieves follows a wide cast of characters in this kind of Game of Thrones-esque world. There are a lot of similarities to Game of Thrones down to very specific character correlations. It definitely probably influenced my enjoyment of it because it was during the hub of Game of Thrones season, so I was more inclined to compare them to the characters. But basically, again, we follow this wide cast of characters. We follow a Sansa-esque princess, we follow a traitor who is kind of like a Theon kind of character, and we follow a thief, and then we also follow a demon hunter, because in this world, demons are hunted for their smoke, which is kind of like an opium-esque drug that is sold on the black market, and there is a lot of underlining things that happens with the demon smoke that we learn throughout the book. But my favorite part about this book was Tosh and Graval, who are the demon hunters, and their dynamic is a lot like Arya and Clegane from Game of Thrones. Graval is definitely not as aggressive as Clegane is, but their dynamic is so funny and witty, and I just love their dynamic together. The world was just so interesting to read about. It is very much a political story, so if you guys aren't into political fantasies, I wouldn't recommend this, but I very much enjoyed this. I listened to this on audio, and it is a full cast, so that's really nice. If you just are interested in a political fantasy book, I would just highly recommend this. I thought it was really good. It was really intriguing. I was captivated throughout the entire thing, and I just really liked all of the characters. There is also a male-male romance in this book, so that's a good time. I can't remember if it was completely followed through or if it was just flirting, so I apologize. I literally read this, I finished it on the 1st of the month, so I don't remember, but there is that representation in it, though I do preface, because apparently Sally Green has had controversies in the past with male-male romances and kind of killing off them unnecessarily and that kind of trope. I haven't had any experience with this particular book in any problematic aspects, but just keep that in mind. I'm really excited for the sequel. It's coming out in August, I believe, and I am definitely going to pick it up because something happens at the end of this book, and I was just really sad about it. The next book I read was My So-Called Bollywood Life by Nisha Sharma. Nisha Sharma is Indian, so I did loosely participate in the Asian readathon, and I will go over all of the rep that I did end up reading, and this is one of the books that I picked up for the Asian readathon. My So-Called Bollywood Life follows this girl named Winnie, and she has found herself living in a Bollywood movie-esque plot. Basically, in her family, she has been told this prophecy that the love of her life is going to be XYZ, and she her whole life thought that she had the love of her life as her boyfriend because he seemingly checked all the boxes, but one summer he breaks up with her and gets a new girlfriend, and she is caught rethinking all of these things like, is this prophecy even real? Should she go and be with this person even though she doesn't necessarily want to be, just to fulfill this prophecy and make her family happy? Winnie is also wants to be a film student, and that's a big part of the book. We get a ton of Bollywood references. There are dream sequences with Shah Rukh Khan, which were just absolutely amazing, and truly you can't ask for anything better in my opinion, and it was just really, really cute. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a really fast-paced read. It was really cute, really fluffy. So if you're looking for a cute, fluffy contemporary that makes you just want to binge all Bollywood movies, here you go. Take it and enjoy it. The next book I read was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So let's just talk about Cinder because I feel like a lot of people have read it. This is a BookTube veteran, and we're just going to talk about it. Firstly, the rep. Cinder is Asian and Caucasian, so she is mixed race. Also, Kai, the prince, is also described as Asian, so love that. So Cinder, I'm sure you guys all know what the plot is about. It's a retelling of Cinderella, but Cinder is a cyborg, and there is this plague that has spread into this country, and they're dealing with the repercussions of that. They're trying to find a cure, and Cinder plays a big role in the plague discovery cure thing. And we also find out that she is something very, very special, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm sure you guys know or have read this book, and if you haven't read this book, you probably don't plan on reading it. That was how I was. I never expected to read this book because I'm not a sci-fi person, as you guys know. I say it all the time, every single time I read a sci-fi book, that I don't like sci-fi, but I continue to read it. Why? I don't know. Actually, I do know why I read this. I read Heartless in February, and it was so incredible. The writing was so beautiful that I really wanted more of Marissa Meyer's work. And so I knew I wasn't going to like this particular book because it's sci-fi, and I'm also not a huge Cinderella retelling kind of person. So I already knew going in that this was just going to be a necessary evil to continue with the series, and that is exactly what it turned out being. I didn't care about the plot. I didn't care about any of the characters. I thought all of it was just meh. The queen was the only person that I thought was pretty interesting, but still she needed to be fleshed out for me. I do love the concept of the Lunars though, and that is obviously the most important part of the series. It's called the Lunar Chronicles, so I'm assuming they play a big role in it, and I hope I like the rest of the series, and I am excited to continue with it. The next book I read was The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. Rin Chupeco is Filipino, and The Bone Witch is Asian inspired. Bone Witch is based on a necromancer, aka a bone witch, and it is told very interestingly. So the Bone Witch takes place both in the past and in the present slash future. So that doesn't make any sense, but let me explain. We follow Tia, who is the main character, and we follow her dual perspectively, where we follow her where she is discovering that she is a bone witch, and we are watching her training and all that kind of stuff. But then we also get the perspective of Tia in the future, with a bard going to basically record her story. And in the future slash present Tia, she is very much a, I don't want to say necessarily evil, like the public considers her evil, but she is just this like all-powerful like necromancer who has these kind of scary ambitions. And the two Tias are completely different. So like the juxtaposition between the two Tias are so interesting, and jumping from those chapters to the other, you're just like, how did this happen? Like, how did this jump happen? I definitely preferred, obviously, future Tia and those perspectives with the bard and all of that, far more to past Tia. The book definitely is very slow. Like, I would say 30 to 70% of the book is just pretty dang slow, and I don't mind that, but I understand why people wouldn't like it. But I think the world and the lore is so interesting that I am very intrigued to continue the series. I will preface this though, I did listen to this on audio, and I 100% need to reread this, which is why I only gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I love the concept, I just don't think I embraced the story enough or the best way possible. So I definitely want to pick this up physically and read this, but I am very intrigued by this trilogy, and I'm excited to continue with it. So the next book I read was Darkwood by Gabby Hutchinson Crouch, and I am so excited to talk about this book with you guys. So I received this as an ARC through NetGalley, through the publishers, so thank you so much for sending this to me. This was absolutely incredible. This is a middle grade fairy tale retelling, Monty Python-esque story, and it is absolutely hilarious, amazing, and 5 out of 5 stars. We follow Gretel from Hansel and Gretel, and she has been banished to the Darkwood. And the Darkwood is this super scary woods that all the villagers and all across the country has been told to never go in, never venture into the Darkwood. It is like the #1 lesson that you learn as a child. But she has been banished to the Darkwood because she has been accused of witchcraft. And in this world, witchcraft has been illegal by the huntsmen who rule over this region, and they, of course, hunt witches. In the Darkwood, she meets these interesting casts of characters. There is Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. There is, I don't remember what the fairy tale is. You guys will probably know in the comments, but it's the one where the girl is like eating her cake in the chair, and then the spider comes down and like talks to her or something like that. She is there with her talking spider, and there are a couple other characters that make an appearance, and it's just so funny and it's so witty, and I love it so much. And they all come together to protect the Darkwood as well as protect Gretel's hometown. It's so good. If you guys love Monty Python and that kind of humor, I cannot recommend this enough. I'm like 99% certain that there is a female-female slow burn romance. Of course, it's still slow burn, so there's not like any confirmation, but there are like nuances towards it, and I am all for it. I can't recommend this enough. I don't know what else to say, but this comes out June 13th, so pre-order it. It's so good. The cover is so beautiful. I'm so excited about this book, and I really, really, really want people to read it. So please, please read it. Please do it. The next book I read was The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. Julie Kagawa is Japanese, as well as the main character is Japanese herself. So The Immortal Rules, this was our Trashback book club pick for the month of May, and it was so good. I gave this 4 to 5 stars, as did Carrie. I will link the live show up above. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but basically this is an apocalyptic type book, but instead of zombies, it's vampires. And we follow the main character, Allison, and there is this, it's just a highly politicized world where she lives in this vampire city, and she is an unregistered person, which means that she does not get food from the vampires because she does not donate her blood to them. And so she scavenges, she's a scavenger basically in this city, and something happens to her where she has to learn a whole new life, and that's all I'm gonna say. This book is basically divided in like episodic sections, and it's really good. It's really fast paced. I basically read this all in one sitting, and it's a great time. The next book I read was Lullabies by Lang Leave. Lang Leave is from Thailand. This is a poetry collection. Lang Leave is actually the partner of Michael Fawcett, who I have his works right behind me. So they have very, very similar writing styles. She even opens up her book with a poem from Michael Fawcett, and they have very similar works. It's a modern poetry, erotic romance type poetry collections. My favorite poems in here were Her Words, Patience, and there was another one I can't remember, but it's really good. It's really cute. If you like modern poetry, I'm sure you already know about Lang's work, but it's really cute and I enjoyed it. So 4 to 5 stars. There you go. Now, the last actual book I read this month was A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This is the second book in the Ember in the Ashes series, and I have thoughts. Non-spoilery thoughts. I did not like this nearly as much as Ember in the Ashes. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, but honestly it probably should be a 2.5 out of 5 stars. That sounds so harsh, but hear me out. I just don't like the way the story's going. It's taking a turn that I'm not a fan of. I didn't like any of the characters. I feel like we didn't get any character development through any of them besides these like out of nowhere facets to their characters that are been added. I just didn't enjoy the story at all. I was bored throughout all of Elias's chapters. I didn't care about any of them. Laya, again, I feel like I didn't get any character development or character growth from her character. I hate Helene. I didn't mind her in Ember in the Ashes at all. I thought she was a good character to have. But in this one, I'm like, I don't understand what her point in the story is. I don't understand why. I don't know if why we're supposed to sympathize with her or why we're supposed to like her. I just don't understand why she's here. I'm going to move into spoilers now, so I'm just going to, I don't know, I'm gonna do something where you know it's spoilers, so just mute this until it goes away. So spoilers, I am a Keenan stan through and through, and I still stand by that. I don't care that he's a demon, even though that came out of fucking nowhere. What? Like, I knew something was gonna happen to him, but really? A demon? And are we just supposed to forget that Laya lost her virginity to a demon? Okay. It's always the quiet ones that are the kinkiest. Elias, the fact that he's like this soul whatever the fuck, I don't even remember what it was called because I literally don't care at all about him. My thing with Elias is that you don't get his character because he's running for his life the entire time, which is understandable, but like, I need to know his personality to like him, and you don't get any of his personality. And the fact that now Laya can turn invisible, that's very convenient, and I don't like it at all. I didn't really like this book at all. I am going to continue with the series solely because I have a signed copy of Ember in the Ashes, and I do love Saba a lot, so I want to at least try Reaper in the Gates, but chances of me liking it are very slim. Okay, so now the next batch of books that I read are all graphic novels. The first one that I'm going to talk about is Snot Girl by Brian O'Malley. So I gave this a 2-star, and this one is a very complicated instance where I don't know if this book is actually problematic or it's just the nuances and the humor and like the way the story is told is just supposed to be uncomfortable. So let me explain what the premise is. So Snot Girl basically follows this girl who is this social media influencer, and she has these allergies. So when she starts taking new allergy medication, she starts hallucinating, and there's kind of these mystery aspects to it where there's this girl that she saw was murdered, and she witnesses that murder, but she's kind of grappling with the fact was that real? Did I actually see what's happening? So like my problem with this graphic novel is, one, the art style is my favorite I've ever seen in a graphic novel, so let's just get that out of the way. But the story is very sexualized. It's very like borderline fetishizing. I don't know if it's just the fact that the satire hasn't come across for me, or I'm just overly sensitive to it. But it's just, it makes me really uncomfortable, especially considering the fact that this is a appearingly cis-het man writing the story. I'm just bothered by the way he's written this story, and it just makes me uncomfortable, and that's it. I don't like, again, this isn't me trying to say cancel this author, because he has done problematic stuff, because he's the author of Scott Pilgrim, if you guys don't know. But again, I don't know if this is just supposed to be a commentary on social media. I feel like it is trying to be, but again, I don't think the message has come across in the way it needs to for me personally. So yeah, 2 out of 5 stars for this. I'm not going to be continuing with the volume, even though there is a small part of me that kind of does want to. I'm just not feeling this graphic novel at all. So the next batch of graphic novels I actually did a whole dedicated video to, so I'm going to link that up here for you guys to watch, but I am going to go over my ratings a bit for them. The first graphic novel I finished was Saga. I didn't like this. Again, another instance where me reading sci-fi thinking I'm going to like it and I don't like it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was fine. Again, it's sci-fi. I don't like sci-fi, and I need to stop forcing myself to try to read it, as I say when I have Aurora Rising's audiobook on hold. I know I have a problem, but I would like you to not talk about it to my face. The next graphic novel I read is something I am going to gush about with you, and I'm going to gush about this so much, so just buy it already and experience it so you can gush about it with me, because I'm never going to stop talking about it, and that is Fresh Romance Volume 1. This is a compilation of 5 graphic novels in this story, and it is perfection. The art is amazing, the stories are amazing. If you just want to feel happy, just read this. There's a female-female romance in here, there are rep of male-male romance in here, a black side character, there is an Asian main character. Of course none of these are confirmed, but it's a graphic novel so you can see the rep directly through the art, and it's just so good. There is a Beauty and the Beast retelling in here, and usually I don't like those, but it was just so beautiful in this case that I loved it so much. I literally can't say enough good things about this. If you take anything away from this video, read Darkwood and Fresh Romance. That's it. Those are my top reads of the month, and I loved them so incredibly much. Fresh Romance is so good. Just please read it. It's so wholesome. It's so cute. I love it so much. The next graphic novel I read was Preacher, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It is published by Vertigo Comics, which is my favorite comic entity. I don't know what the proper terms for it is, and it doesn't really matter. But I pretty much love everything that Vertigo puts out, and this was no exception. And now the last thing I read was Death Note Volume 2, and this is, of course, manga, so it's a Japanese manga. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. And the only reason I gave this 3 out of 5 stars is just because I know what happens. I've seen the anime and it is exactly like the manga, and I applaud the anime for sticking exactly to the manga, but because I already know what happens, it deters extremely from my enjoyment of the manga. I thought I was going to continue with the manga, but I actually don't think I'm going to, just because, again, I know what happens. I'm not really going to enjoy it as much, but I still highly recommend it to everybody who doesn't know about this world and hasn't seen anything. I think the anime is great, and I think the manga is great. So, I mean, if you want to do 2 birds, 1 stone, just watch the anime. But if you want to read the manga first and then watch the anime, I recommend doing that, not the other way around of what I did, because I really messed up in that department. Alright, you guys, so that is the end of this video. Please let me know down below if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, and let me know down below what your favorite book of the month was. I hope you guys had a great reading month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!